The immutable laws of God. Indeed, all praise and thanks are due to the God of all of the prophets. We praise him, seek his assistance, and seek his forgiveness. We seek refuge in him from the evil within our own selves and from our evil actions. Whomsoever God guides, nothing or no one can lead him astray. And whomsoever God chooses not to guide, because of this person's disbelief in him, according to his dictates and desires, then there is no guide for this person after God abandons him. As long as man can remember, he has walked with his legs and feet, eaten and spoken with his mouth, and heard with his ears. The sky has always been above him, and he has slept upon the earth beneath him. He has been given on loan a body to use, heart to feel and remember, and mind to calculate and challenge. Yet for many of men, the path of destruction is taken when he fails to understand and contemplate the immutable laws of God. This understanding is rooted into his very being, like an electrical wire is built into the walls of a home. They are there from the beginning. Yet, when man is reminded of who he is, he becomes puzzled. And who is man? He is a composition of what he sees, from mud, clay, mixed with fluids and a soul given to shape and commanded to grow according to the laws that predates him. He comes into form and gains consciousness before he had any. He tries to gather himself when small, crawling, crying, and needy. According to what is written for him, he may die young or live old. It has already been decided. If he continues past this stage, he gains pace and gathers strength, all the while under the eternal command of the one above him, who has decreed and originated his very existence, that as a child he is still unaware. When young, he stares at the creation, amazed at all that he sees. His mother tends to him as though nothing else exists in the world. All who are around him protect him and look after him, family and strangers alike. All are there for him until time comes when he can be there for himself. And all of this is the grace of God upon him, even though of this he is unaware. And this cycle continues with every second of the day as God creates man over and over again by his command. In time, as he grows, he feels hunger, fear, sadness, sickness, joy, and excitement, all in stages. In time, he begins to understand that what is in the sky and on the ground is not by his command. And as he cannot command himself to always remain healthy, nor can he command the rain to come or leave. He does not feed the ants, nor does he tell the birds when to fly in what direction for their safety and survival. When he sees the ocean as if it's one open plain, yet it moves and has sound, he understands that there is life under it yet to be discovered. In it are creatures that have bodies of cows, in that they give birth and feed with milk. And others are hatched from eggs and move onward on their own after birth. In all of this, from the heavens to the earth, he begins to see himself as he truly is, small, as only a piece factored into a whole that he can't truly grasp. Something then inside of him begins to shake, because the possible thought has come to him as he asks inside of himself, who has done all of this? Now in his 30s, he has full strength. He has power unlike he's had before. Yet, when he is bitten by an ant, or he sees a snake, he becomes, once again, the child of yesterday. No matter his age or his temporary power, he will never fly as the bird, swim as the shark, or run as the cheetah. But God gave him a mind, and by it he will study, ponder, question, and create a life for himself better than any other creature alive. He is man. He is dominant, but he is severely limited. He was given a mind and a heart to ponder his limitations and to scale his achievements. Man's biggest challenge is failing to grasp his beginnings. When he was small and nothing, and before that, when he was just a clump of flesh within his mother's womb, and he ate and slept in a room of fluid that was dark. This is his failing. Ask him, from where did you come? Who created you? To where will you go? And he may just blink. You may hear him mumble, or he may just become annoyed. He may try to drink or smoke these annoyances out of his head, only to reawaken with them time and time again. No matter where he goes or what he says or what he builds, he remains on the ground with the heavens of God above him. And for as long as he tries to flee from these questions, he begins to make huge mistakes. He begins to deny his origin. He begins to deny his origin. He begins to deny. He says, no one created me. I'm the only decider. Why all this talk about God? And so it begins. What's next? He begins to try to prove to himself that what he is saying is really true. He begins to exceed the limits of his creation. His arrogance becomes his guide and his Lord. He will do whatever he can do to defy gravity, overly exerting pressure on himself to prove to himself that he is his own God. He becomes reckless with his own life and the lives of others. His excesses begin to build. His arrogance before God begins to mount. His heart becomes harder, and Satan sits nearer and nearer to him, cheering him on every step of the way. When good reaches him by the command of his Lord, he gives himself all the credit, denying God's favors upon him. And when evil comes to him by the command of his Lord, as a mercy from God himself, so that he, man, may fall low and become humble and repent for his wrongdoing, he instead becomes more arrogant and blames his misfortune on everyone but himself. For this, man is truly ungrateful and forever heedless of his magnificent guardian Lord, who is above the heavens, outside of his creation, watching and taking full account. No slumber can seize him, nor sleep. In his arrogance to prove to himself that he is self-sufficient, he does everything in his ability to change his nature. He begins to imitate animals by taking their appearances and behaviors. He may alter his sex or assist in altering the sex of others. He begins to curse what is above the heavens and what is upon the earth with his fits of rage and rebellion until the command descends upon him, until what he wished upon himself may finally descend upon him, the anger of God. If he is not taken in his sleep and brought to judgment all of a sudden, he may awaken to only find that he is paralyzed, can't speak, can't walk, can't urinate or defecate, can't eat or breathe on his own. He may find that he is sleeping and the ground just opens up beneath him, swallowing him, or something comes out of the sky and falls on top of him. He may be walking and someone or something comes upon him and attacks him suddenly. Or he is swimming and is taken by a creature of the deep. He could be eating and the food refuses to leave his throat, and he loses air and his eyes grow ever larger. At this moment, when his heart can beat no longer, due to the command that has descended and the angel of death who has been commanded to come to the slave, will man then remember. When his soul by the command begins to exit through the collarbone, will he then remember? When his last seconds of life, as his family screams to him, pulls him, gathers his clothes to prop him up, and he can hardly hear them but can only see them, will he then remember? As tears come from his eyes and tears of family members hit upon his face, who as they look on cannot hold back his death and can only witness his departing, will he then remember? But then, how will the remembrance benefit him? What has he done since his time of departing has come? What has he prepared for his meeting when he has so wronged himself? Will he think, I have not done for myself, but someone else has done for me by dying for me, so I need not worry? But how will this work for him? As only he has lived his life, made his own decisions, and only he will answer for it. No soul shall bear the burden of another. In the grave will he enter it. No one will enter it for him. No one lived for him, and no one will die for him. So how will the statement he makes benefit him? What prophet told him that someone else will bear his burden for him? So when he is raised, will he truly see that it is only his burden he alone must bear? Or will he think, salvation is not mine, and I only live now and I will die, so I need not worry? Yet, when he was reminded about the favors of God, he became arrogant and said to himself, fools! It is only I who have brought good to myself, no one else. Yet, when he was in his mother's womb, he could not speak, but he was fed. How will this behavior benefit him as his soul departs? Then as the ambulance arrives and his eyes stop at the last place that saw the soul depart, will his family close them for the last time on this earth? He was created upon the immutable laws of God, and now he must end by them. He will be placed in his grave to answer for what he did in this life. The day of judgment, like his birth, land he was born in, mother and father he was given, he will not escape it. It is a day coming, and for this he was to prepare and be mindful. No matter the technology nor riches we amass, the grave will be the next place of dwelling. Of this man should be ever mindful, and for this should he prepare to answer for what he was given and for what he has done. For all his abundant imagination, he is still but a slave, a thing created. He is as temporary as the earth itself. For God is the inheritor of all, the creator never created, the alive never to die, the doer of what he intends, the exalted, the tremendous, the most merciful, the punisher swift in retribution, the helper of those who seek righteousness, the one. And all of the prophets and messengers stated this. They lived by the immutable laws of God that have never changed. Man is not a fish or a bird, no matter what he does. The male is not like the female, no matter what is stated. The sky is above and the earth is below. 2 plus 2 must always equal 4, no matter the technology. A pig is never a cow, regardless of the taste. Satan is the truest enemy to the children of Adam, who seeks to call the children of Adam to hell along with himself. He is relentless and never tires at whispering into the hearts of man to reject his guardian Lord. It is Satan who takes upon the form of a dying person's dead family member, tricking the dying and calling the dying to the hellfire when death is near. What else does the dead ask for except water as the body overheats, as the soul departs? And to whom do you hear the dying address at death, except a departed family member, as though he, the dying, can see them? In truth, it is Satan, but only those guided recognize this in the end. Those who try to live by the immutable laws of God, they will be helped by God. Only they, by his command and his help, will be successful in the end. It will be the defenders of the prophets and the messengers who, when their end comes, will be helped by God. God is permanent and alone, and man is created and temporary. God is complete and excellent within himself. Man is created, not giving himself life, nor taking his own soul to death. The dead will never return. The earth is the deposit place for the dead. All await the day of decision when paradise and hellfire are brought near for the children of Adam to witness. The book of everyone's deeds and actions will be given to them. No soul on that day will be able to bear the burden of another. On that day, the anger of God will be released, and the prophets and messengers will then be completely defended as they are raised from their graves in honor on a dark day, wearing crowns made from light. Because in this life man grew in arrogance, forgot the meeting with his guardian Lord, made up false statements deluding himself from the truth, and turned away from it. He denied the message from the prophets and the messengers. So from the earth he was taken, and to it he must return. Where are all the dead kings, warriors, and the arrogant? Why have they not returned to this life? What prevents them from returning? For all of them is the next life, life in the grave. All must die, and none will escape death, because death and man's day of judgment, coming out of his grave and standing before the Almighty King, are from the immutable laws of God.